So most of you as members probably know our mission, but this is nice to remind all of us sort of why we're here. So our mission is to advance sustainable principles and practices forward through the power of business. So that's where you come in, right? We're really here to help you advance sustainability in your businesses. And of course, the primary ways we do this are through education, through the Green Masters program, which is the Measure and Improve bucket, through facilitating connection, and through helping share your stories. So we thank everyone for your membership and ongoing support so that we can fulfill our mission. All right, I know most of you sort of are advanced or understanding of where you are in sustainability, but I also just like to share our definition of sustainability to sort of level set and know where we're coming from for most of some of you who are new. So the way that WSBC defines sustainability is through the pursuit of business growth strategy that creates long-term stakeholder value by seizing opportunities and managing risks associated with your environmental and social impacts. And why do businesses value sustainability? Hopefully most of you who are here have experienced some of these benefits in your organization, but the reducing risk side, the looking at cost reduction side, efficiency, sustainability is about continuous improvement. So we're always looking at ways that you can continue to improve your operating costs or reduce those. It's a great tool for attracting and retaining employees, especially if it's done authentically. It enhances your visibility and reputation as an organization. That's one thing that the Green Masters program logo, which we're here to talk about today, really helps you with sharing that part of your story. It creates an environment for innovation and enhances relationships with customers and stakeholders. And of course, these are only a few of the reasons that businesses value sustainability. I'm sure that you could add to this list. So the reason I'm sort of sharing this challenges to integrating sustainability is because we've used this list to really design the Green Masters program tool for you, which again is what we're here to talk about today. So through our membership, we've been able to ask you sort of year over year, what are your biggest challenges? And these are the things that continue to rise to the top. So integration is a challenge, right? Integrating it into your business systems. How do you make this systemic across your organization in a way that's easy to manage? There's so many topics, right? With the new development of Green Masters, we have 15 topics in the program. That's a lot to manage, right? And there's technical terms, there's a lot of acronyms. So really, we want to help simplify all of that for you. Of course, your time and your money is important in your organization. So how can we do all of that in a way that allows you to be the most efficient that you can be? And then, again, a lot of topics. How do you prioritize? This, I think, is one of those challenges that we have seen sort of rise to the top, especially for companies who are newer to sustainability, right? Is to really help them prioritize what to focus on in those beginning phases so that they can really gain traction. Don't know where to start. And then getting buy-in. Getting buy-in is a topic. Every year we hear, I need support, whether it's leadership or your shop employees or major customer or stakeholder, right? Just getting that buy-in and understanding and communicating why this is important to your organization. And so all of this is just really teeing up, again, the solution that we have created in support of you, the Green Masters program. And so it's a framework for you to define, prioritize, manage, and improve your overall company's sustainability performance. So it does help you define that scope. It helps you define how and what to priorities through the materiality assessment. It is aligned with a lot of other frameworks, which we're all going to talk about a little bit more in detail today. It provides best practice ideas. And not only that, you get this wonderful network of support to help in the journey. So I love to remind folks that the network is here for you. Of course, Krista and I are always here to support you, but as members, also take advantage of the support network, right? Many of you have started using, I've been encouraging folks to really use that question forum inside of the MemberClicks platform. Anytime you have a question, you can ask the community questions there, or you can reach out to us even to get some ideas on who might be good to answer some of those questions. But really, we're a community here to support your sustainability growth. So leverage that community. And we've also really designed the Green Masters program to be a tool, but also a learning in one. So not only does it help you manage your systems, it'll help you know what to manage and potential best practices to employ in your organization. These are the categories. They are organized sort of in the ESG lens. So environment is the largest category. The environmental topics all fall under that. Society is community and customer welfare. Workforce includes employee health and safety, the employee experience, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then governance and leadership include sort of how your business is ethically governed and the sustainable leadership in the company, as well as supply chain management. And then each topic inside of the Green Masters program has these components associated with it. So we're looking at we're looking at helping you develop systems for tracking, measure, monitoring, improving each of the categories, and then integrating that into your businesses. We're looking at best practices. So what are the best practices in each category currently? So right now Krista and I just this morning, we're sort of talking about all the updates for this program year. So you can depend or rely on us to sort of make sure to know what's the best practices across the industry are, and that will show up in the tool every year. So you don't necessarily have to go and do that research on your own. And then performance improvement. So it's also helping you measure how you're improving over time against your own benchmarks. And then again, it follows the plan, do, check, act cycle. So sustainability is continuous improvement. And, we recognize that all of these topics have a place in the conversation. And so what's important to be impactful is to really sort of following this roadmap, right? So assessing your material topics, setting priorities that are aligned with your business priorities, establishing metrics and KPIs in those priorities, planning and embedding those projects that help you meet those KPIs, and then evaluating and adjusting. And this is the process that continues on and on. What's unique about the Green Masters program is it allows you to reprioritize your priorities without penalizing you year over year. So as you make strides and improvements in certain topics, you can add topics in. You can maybe, just expand that view of your priorities. I think this is where I'm going to hand it over to Krista. If there's anything else you want to say here. Were you going to share your screen? Okay.
Thanks, Jessie. Yeah, and you can go ahead and as you transition, I will go ahead and share my screen. But absolutely, a couple of things that Jessie shared that I definitely want to emphasize is, our goal here with the Green Masters program is, yes, that it's an avenue for recognition. It's also a tool to help equip your processes. And, as WSBC, we're really merging, right, how we talk about sustainability holistically, and the Green Masters program, and the update that we did last year really helped us continue to kind of lead best practices in sustainability disclosure and be an ongoing part of the conversation. And so this concept, right, is like that plan, do, check, act cycle, just continuing to emphasize, focusing on the things that are the highest impact, not only for your organization, also for your stakeholders, right? Focusing on um, how you can really advance sustainability holistically across the landscape of business and in your industry, contributing to that sustainable economy. And so, the thing that we talk about a lot of times with this approach is that we're helping companies move away from random acts of sustainability and into that integrated approach to sustainability, and the topics that you focus on and prioritize really being a core part of how you function as a business. But it's not just something else you do, not just another program, but it's part of the identity of your organization. And so, giving companies the flexibility to select the topics that are really going to be a part of your identity is a significant part of kind of how we've redeveloped the program to continue to drive that, right? Um, so as companies, do that again, these are the status levels at which we recognize. Again, allowing participants to determine which, topics are the most significant for their organization and stakeholders. And ultimately, what the goal of the Green Masters program is that we want to empower organizations to effectively manage those issues that are really a significant part of how they do business, and then kind of lead in that transition to a more sustainable society. And so, each status level requires a minimum number of topics. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. But really, the goal here again is to get the topics that are most material to your organization integrated into the fabric of how you do business, continually improving as we continually improve the tool as well, to help be that tool to drive continual improvement in your organizations, to ultimately, holistically, as a Wisconsin business community, as part of the broader business community and society, leading that transition to a more sustainable society for all of us. So, again, these status levels are absolutely a part of rewarding companies that are going through that process and recognizing companies who have. And also, we want to equip and empower you all along the way as you advance these things through your organization. So in the Green Masters program, we see a lot of benefits to organizations. This program's been around nearly 15 years widely throughout Wisconsin. So some of the top benefits we've seen, again, are, driving that continual improvement in sustainable performance. And that redesign that we introduced last year was absolutely part of that, as we continually improve our processes as well. The next thing that we've really heard from companies who participate is that the recognition that the Green Masters program offers is unique, in that it's recognizing not just your contribution to the broader transition to a more sustainable economy, but really the leadership that Green Master companies and Green Master participants offer within the Wisconsin business community. So the Green Masters program is really unique in terms of recognition in that it's local. It allows you to understand and benchmark how you're performing against your regional peers, while, other frameworks might offer that perspective kind of in your industry, right? The Green Masters program is unique in being able to offer that perspective locally and regionally. It also aligns with a lot of other disclosure frameworks. So we'll look at that in a moment. And one thing that we want to call out and encourage participating companies to really explore this year is the Green Masters tool as an avenue to facilitate cross-functional participation. Jesse shared in earlier slides that one of the challenges we hear from businesses a lot is getting buy-in for sustainability initiatives, getting that integration across your organization. One of the unique features of the Green Masters program, particularly from historical versions, is that you can actually add contributors to your assessment. So it's not just one person who has to fill out the survey. You can actually have others within your organization who oversee different aspects of sustainability, right? Employee health and safety, maybe some of your supply chain initiatives, or maybe you're the person overseeing those things and you have someone else overseeing some of your environmental impacts. The tool allows multiple contributors to an organization's assessment. And I would really encourage you to use that to drive that engagement and participation and help that get buy-in within your organization. And then again, as you are, earning those credentials and getting recognition in your community, both locally and in your industry, promote within your organization and outside of your organization that recognition and those rewards. And then you can, have those in your organization who did contribute to your assessment kind of also share in that recognition, which can go a long way in driving that engagement and getting that buy. So a lot of us do a lot of different sustainability disclosures in our work, right? There are so many frameworks out there. And so as we were developing this updated Green Masters program, one of the things that was really important to us is that we intentionally align with some of the other frameworks that are widely used, right? We don't want the Green Masters program to be just another sustainability survey. So kind of in addition to that, local recognition that's unique. We also wanted to make sure that we were supporting the initiatives that companies already have in place, often driven by customers, right, or other stakeholder interests, to participate in some of these other frameworks. So what you see here is a pretty good list of the frameworks that we aligned with in how we developed and designed questionnaires, specific questions that we included for different topics. And these are also the frameworks that we continue to align with as we make changes to the program, right? In a few minutes, we'll talk about some specific changes, but as an example here, the Science Based Targets Network published a lot of additional guidance around biodiversity at the end of last year. So this year we've updated our biodiversity and ecological impacts questionnaire to capture some of the changes to the Science-Based Targets Network guidance. We continue to do this. This is part of our update process for Q1, is that we want to continue to align with these really to create a stepping stone platform that helps drive that integration of sustainability into your organization, aligning with the other frameworks, other stakeholder interests, but also, some of the other frameworks look at end results and don't always support the process of integrating the topics that you're disclosing about. So really, we want to bridge that gap with the Green Masters program to provide that stepping stone and also that integration tool so that your end result is going to be similar, whether you're, disclosing through CDP or EcoVadis or GRI, or you have a science-based target, or you want to get ISO certified, or you want to be a B Corp, right? Our goal with the Green Masters program is that we would provide a clear roadmap for some of those frameworks while recognizing and rewarding companies for progress along the way. And really our goal here is that across the board, we want to set you up for success in your sustainability program, right? We want to set you up for success in your organization. We want to set you up for success with your stakeholders. And we want to set you up for success as you lead that transition in Wisconsin and beyond. So to that end, right, we wanted to take some time as part of this. The goal of this, or the title of this webinar today, is partly about celebrating sustainable excellence, right? And so we want to talk a little bit about some of the success stories and benefits we've seen to companies who have gone through this program. So step one, we wanted to share about 2023 program participation. It's the first year of the redeveloped platform, and wanted to kind of share some insights about that. So we had a really good reception to the new platform. In terms of participation, we had 57 participants who submitted for recognition. I make that designation because we also had about a dozen companies who use the tool or use the platform as a tool to support their program development who don't necessarily submit for recognition. So for some of you, if you're considering using the program, but you're not sure you want to go all in, you can absolutely register for the platform. You can designate at the time of registration whether or not you want to receive recognition. And so you can participate for recognition, but you can also participate just in using the tool. It's a free benefit to business members, so take advantage of it, even if you're not necessarily looking for additional recognition. In terms of participation, we actually had some of the highest growth in new participants since 2015. So again, the redeveloped platform was really well received, which is good. I mean, that's kind of that's what we're looking for, right? We want to continue to empower companies and help companies lead the way. In terms of who was using the program, we saw a pretty even distribution among the size of companies participating. Less than 100 employees, 100 to 500, and 500 employees were the categories that we kind of broke it into. Pretty evenly split between manufacturing and non-manufacturing. And we make that distinction partly because we recognize that not as many topics within the sustainability landscape are equally important. And a lot of times heavier impact industries include manufacturing and utilities. So as part of our guidance in terms of how many topics a company needs to respond to, we kind of use that designator to categorize participants and offer guidance around how many categories or topics a participant should be looking at. Really, that's related to how significant of an impact there tends to be on the environment and society in the topics addressed by the Green Masters program. So pretty even split between non-manufacturing and manufacturing. And then within that, you can kind of see the breakdown in the size of companies in each of those categories. Wanted to take another moment to recognize again some of the companies who participated last year and achieved different status levels. Some of you are probably on this webinar today, and we're excited to have you. But just again, a shout out and congratulations to those companies who achieved advancing. These are the participating companies who achieved maturing status in 2023. And these are our Green Masters companies for 2023. So again, I think it's wonderful that we see that progression of, companies who are participating, who are really continuing to drive improvement in their organizations and in our greater Wisconsin business community. In a moment, we'll talk a little bit about the categories for recognition this year. So I just wanted to share this. These were the average scores for each topic in 2023. The green bar is the max score available. The blue bar is the average score. So I would just encourage you to take a look at this, even just to do your own benchmarking. If you participated last year, take a look. How did you do compared to the average? How did you do compared to the max? Can you improve this year in the spirit of continual improvement and recognition for improvement? So for those of you who are on the webinar today who are manufacturers or who are looking at this later, this is the call, right? Here's the benchmark. How far can you go, right? Let's use this to advance sustainability in Wisconsin. Pick one, try to beat the average. Here's your non-manufacturing. So this would be commercial businesses. Pick one and try to beat the average, right? Can you beat your score? Can you beat the average? Can you be a top performer? Last year, we recognized top performers by size. We'll do something similar this year. So you can see that again, different companies have a different impact, right? It's that understanding and that insight into how do you compare to your peers regionally, by size, by industry. And for those of you who participated last year, or maybe who didn't, who are thinking about participating this year, there's your competition. Can you knock any of these out and be a top performer in your category? That's your challenge for this year. So with that, we wanted to take a few minutes to just open the floor to other companies. On the screen is a few benefits that we've seen that we can call out, but we want to open the floor for those of you who have participated before. What are the benefits that you've seen, and maybe are we on base or off base in what we're promoting as the benefit? So I'll open the floor for anyone who wants to share. Feel free to unmute. You turn your camera on or don't, totally up to you.
Hey, I'd like to share if that's all right.
Hi, thanks.
Hey, I'm Kelsey Moses from Lakefront Brewery here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I just wanted to say that this most recent change, the Green Masters 2.0 that uses the materiality assessment approach, has just been a big game changer. Going into sustainability work, not knowing what a materiality assessment is, that's a lot of information to understand right off the bat. So this is a great tool that sort of presents a materiality assessment in an approachable way that allows you to assess your own business's priorities, but also your stakeholders. So you can send that a similar materiality assessment out to your consumers and get their input as well. So that was a huge help for me personally. Sustainability can be like, drinking from a water hose, and Green Masters really helps break it up into tributaries that are a little more manageable. So, and I also just wanted to say, as a certified B Corp, it's great that Green Masters makes efforts to align with, things like the B Impact Assessment or the UN SDG, those Sustainable Development Goals. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelsey. And I'll throw out there too, if you have anything that you'd like to see support in, benefits, but also if you need any support, you let us know too. I'm glad to hear that it was a good resource for you, and let us know if you need any other resources or support too. Thanks, Kelsey.
All right, I can go next. Hi, I'm Julia Bloom. I'm from Green Bay Packaging. So for the last couple of years, I have been the point person for completing Green Masters. So I think one of the first things that I noticed that was a huge benefit coming out of the process itself was being able to collaborate with what I would consider to be my sustainability champions at each of our divisions. We have this, large business, and we have people that are taking care of things, being creative on their own levels or what fits their facility. And so we have some information gathering processes, but this one in particular, then we got to hear a little more about, hey, like I just worked with engineering to install this project and now we're saving like this much water. Or we have somebody that's saying, hey, we're going to try to trial out some solar power at a small operation this year. So I think it's been great to be able to communicate that and get that recognized. And I think it gives the divisions a big sense of purpose. And then two, with the new relaunch, been collaborating a little bit more at the corporate level as well. talking again that interdepartmental CSR reporting, and that has been eye-opening. Combining that as well with some of the other disclosures where we are reporting those types of metrics, such as EcoVadis, and so that has helped open up that conversation and say, we're not just separate departments. Like, we are here representing this company and moving this forward. It's been a gap analysis. We didn't score 100% on everything. There are still things that we can and should be doing. And so with that, one of the other things is that this internal benchmarking and these resources, like going to the conference at WSBC, comes up with strategies for developing, what can we do? What are the targets? And how are we going to get there? How do we put together action plans? So really implementing an environmental management system on multiple different levels. So, these ladies have been wonderful to work with. They mean it when they say they'll be there for you and they'll find solutions. I look forward to if there are opportunities for us to utilize those resources more. And, I'm happy to help collaborate with other companies that may not have gone further down this journey. So Green Bay Packaging's been with Green Masters from the start. And I think it's been a wonderful experience for us all.
Thanks, Julia. And yeah, shout out. Green Bay Packaging has been from before the Green Masters program was widely released in 2010. They were part of the initial beta test. I think have achieved Green Master status every year since the beginning. So I love to hear that it's still useful for your organization. And you guys are doing some awesome things.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is, we do order the certificates for all of our 10 Wisconsin divisions so that they can put it in their lobby, and then, people will come in and they'll be like, yeah, we want to talk about it. We want to talk about what we're doing, and how we're engaging. And I think, that adds a lot of value to our coordinators to physically get that and say, I'm part of this. I'm part of like this bigger thing. So
awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Can I just jump in here for a minute? I just wanted to comment on something, Julia, you said about just sort of the resources, because I hear this a lot, right? Like, we have so many resources vetted for you, but they don't all exist in your member platform. So if you are looking for a resource around something specific, please just use us as a resource, or again, the community, because we spend a lot of time doing that. Or like, recently a good example is like some of the pending regulation. I've been sort of helping connect different folks that are, serving Europe or selling in California or some of these pending regulations to really understand what's going on there. I think there's room for us to grow in terms of leveraging like the communication tools that we have to share out some of that information with all of you. More, we're organizing it on the back end in a really good way. So just know we're doing that for you. So don't forget we're a great resource, and that your member platform is a great resource as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. Good reminder. Anyone else have any benefits you've seen that you want to share?
Hi, my name is Chris Labonte. I'll just introduce myself. I recently was hired with 4imprint. My first day was last Monday. 4imprint has been a member, but I'm the first dedicated sustainability person representing 4imprint. So I'm happy that we've participated. I'm still digging in to find out at what level we're at. I have my assumptions, but I'll do some research first. But I'm really excited to dig into the Green Masters program, and particularly to network. I'm a big believer in thinking globally and acting locally. So I'm very excited to collaborate with people who have been involved with the Green Masters program and utilizing all the resources available. So I just want to introduce myself, that I hope to be an active participant with this program and to get as much benefit as possible.
Awesome. Well, I know we've exchanged emails, but nice to see you.
Hello.
Put a face to the name, and welcome to the community. So if Chris reaches out to you, this is who he is, and he wants to connect on the Green Masters program.
Yeah. Yeah, we just moved back to Wisconsin from Portland, Oregon. So I've worked in
Awesome.
sustainability for like about 14 years. So I'm really happy to be able to take my experiences. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to digging into all this. So thank you for hosting this.
Good. Yeah, welcome. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I don't know, can you hear me, Christina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
This was our first year participating in Green Masters. We looked at it prior, but we actually had to kind of we had to shift our progress and go towards EcoVadis first. Was our first piece of business we needed to complete for customers' requests. But this was our first year completing Green Masters, and it was absolutely wonderful. The platform was really easy to use. The sustainability matrix is wonderful. We actually are using that in our sustainability report. So getting that mileage out of the content and getting the mileage out of everything that Green Masters offers. We're even using it, like someone else said, like a gap analysis, and using it as project planning. So bringing together the different departments. So our procurement department, our finance department, everyone bringing them together, showing them the gap analysis and showing them kind of our pathway, or what our pathway is going to look like for our project planning, and how it's going to benefit other environmental goals that we have across the sector. So it's been great. I love that it's open, that you can keep going back to it. So as long as you save it in your link and can find it every time. Doesn't always happen, but it's great. You can always reopen. You can always take screenshots, send it off to your colleagues and say, hey, how is this going? Remind them that, instead of it's not just the once a year thing, it's the whole year. So trying to keep them moving on those programs, even though we've just submitted. So I love that. Again, I love being able to look back at it and use it as that benchmark, and knowing, okay, what is our goal for this next year? So.
Awesome. Thanks, Leah. Excellent. Anyone else want to share any final thoughts? Anyone who's can affirm or dispute any of the benefits that we claimed here today?
I'll jump in really quick. So I can echo. I've used you both as a resource several times. Just seeing you in person or emailing you for something. But also being able to add other people from different departments onto the platform as users has been very helpful. Just to collaborate internally on these topics. Also, the way it's presented in the platform really broadens people's ideas of what is incorporated in sustainability. It goes far beyond just measuring your wastewater and energy, which is what I think a lot of people internally had in their minds of what sustainability was. So being able to reach out to our HR and our packaging team and our logistics team and kind of show them the diversity of topics that are covered in a user-friendly platform is a great education tool, as well as a good way to engage other people in sustainability topics. So I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia. I'm glad you've had a good experience. Erin, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Hey there. Yeah, no, I just have more maybe of a question of like the functionality going forward into the new program. Looking at the results screen. So once you go through the survey, once you've completed all of your input, is there going to be different ways going forward to kind of understand what the next steps are? Because obviously some of us on the call, if we're more trained on some of the things that sustainability requires. Some of us, it's probably like clear, or it just seems natural that we kind of know how to proceed. But if you're starting to get other people across the board in your company that might not be as familiar with sustainability, when we get to the results screen in the previous tool, you just saw your results. It didn't really say, here's some suggestions for next steps. I'm just wondering, like, what does the long-term functionality look like in the tool to maybe help get other people who aren't as familiar on board with what to do once you get your results and how to prioritize?
Yeah, great question. And honestly, we get asked this question a lot. So first I'll kind of speak to right now how you can, with the existing functionality, what does that look like, how you can prioritize. So a couple things I'll say. One of the reasons we made the move to transparent scoring was to help companies make the decision for themselves about what to focus on. Kind of, again, opening up that, like, okay, what do you need for your business and your stakeholders? It can kind of help you decide, right? And so to give some insight into that, the way we score each question is we rank. So we go through a process as WSBC and then with our content review committee, which is like, we're hovering around like 40 to 50 people, right? We try to have at least 2 reviewers for each topic. Is we rank each question in terms of effort and impact. So each question is on a scale of 1 to 3, how much effort does it take to do this? And then on a scale of 1 to 3, what's the impact of doing this action? How much does it actually affect things? And so we rank each question, and then effort is multiplied by impact, and that's the points available for that question. So if you look at a question and it's like worth 9 points, that's probably going to take some effort and have a big impact. If you look at a question and it's worth 2 points, that is either lower effort or lower impact in terms of like holistic impact to your performance. And again, the transition to the sustainable society, right? So I would say, one, for those of you who are kind of looking at the program, look at the points. That's going to give you some insight into how hard it is and how much of an impact it's going to have on your performance in that question, in that topic. And then the other kind of element that we offer, and we'll talk about this in a few slides, is, so as WSBC, we've recently started offering consulting as, for companies looking to go further faster. And so that's actually a service, I guess, that we offer. The way our model is, because we're such a limited team, we can offer general resources that are widely used. When you start needing kind of that individual support, that's when we just don't have the capacity and like the normal functioning of WSBC. That's where we look at consulting services. So we do get requests a lot for that, like individual insight and perspective. And so we offer what we call a sustainability assessment, which is essentially like a gap analysis of where your program is, what topics you're prioritizing, how that aligns with others in your industry and best in class. And then what are like 10 projects that you should take in the next year or next phase of program development to advance your program to the next stage. So currently, again, we're offering that kind of the self-serve would be to look at the points available and target where you want to grow for your business, and using the insight of the transparent scoring to say, this is how hard it's going to be. This is how much impact it's going to have. The other option is, if you want that like hands-on support, we can offer that through consulting. In the future, we have so many ideas and dreams about what the platform could look like. And, what gets developed at this point is essentially what gets funded. We really don't want to like raise prices to WSBC, members to continue support, like to fund program development. We really want to look at other avenues of funding sources. And so where we have opportunities to get funding to support program development and development of the Green Masters platform, we're going to prioritize it. I will offer out for those of you who are participating companies, if there is something that you would really like to see in the Green Masters program and you would like to sponsor development of that as a company, we are open to that conversation. So let us know. But otherwise, it's just going to be as opportunities arise. We'll continue looking for ways to, we collect a lot of information about what companies want to see from the platform. And then we're doing our best to fund that without raising prices for WSBC members. Jesse, anything you want to add to that before we call in Shannon?
You know, I mean, that's definitely something we've explored in terms of like, it's in the tool, like it could just spit out a report and that sounds really easy, but it's really not as easy as it sounds. So right, it's been, because we use the Green Masters program as like the self-serve model, it's really on the individual and the teams to sort of look at where their gaps are and assess if that's something that makes sense for their business.
Thanks.
Yeah. Shannon, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to compliment you, you guys on the program that, I think that many programs do not look at sustainability as, they look at it as just environment and not the full scope of what sustainability is or can be, or the evolution of sustainability. So I applaud you guys on that. And having a platform where you meet people where they are. So yes, advancements is important, but so is creating a baseline. And we're all at different stages of our sustainability journey, and just having compassion for where you are and where you want to grow, and developing the tools to support us is huge. So thank you for creating this platform for all of us to use and further our journey.
Thanks, Shannon.
Of course.
And thank you to everyone who has shared. This is fantastic. In the interest of time, I'm going to close the floor simply because I know that we really want to get to what's changed for 2024. And I don't want to shortchange that, because that's probably what you guys are most interested in if you've participated before and are returning. So I'll jump into that. But again, thank you guys so much for sharing all of that. That was great feedback. Truly, you could have been harsher, but we appreciate all of your positive feedback. That's excellent. And always feel free to reach out to us with any type of feedback, including additional resources that you need to support your journey. Okay, now I'm really transitioning. So changes to the program in 2024. You're going to see that some questions have changed, relatively minor. We didn't make any sweeping changes. That said, for example, like the way the platform is set up, if we're changing some language in a question, we actually have to delete it from the platform and then re-add it. When we do that, it'll show up like a new question. So your responses from prior years could be lost if we had to revise that question for any reason. So you might see that there are some questions you're like, didn't I answer this last year? Why is it showing up as a new question? Perhaps we had to delete it and re-add it to improve the clarity. One of the elements of feedback we got is that we didn't have a not applicable option for some of the actions. And so again, we had to go back and delete questions and then re-add them to include a not applicable. So again, that's like the majority of changes are minor wording changes. And then, for completeness or clarity, revising some of the language, we maybe had to delete and re-add questions. Minor bug fixes, like there was a question, I think in the community impacts topic that didn't have any points associated with it and it was supposed to, right? So we fixed things like that. And then there are a few questions that we'll be adding and or deleting to reflect current best practices in sustainability disclosure. An example here, I referred to it earlier in the presentation, the Science Based Targets Network published new guidance on biodiversity in late 2023. So we updated our biodiversity questionnaire to align with kind of the best practices outlined there. Some other, so I mean, in terms of the questionnaire and the functionality, those are the major changes. And by major, they're not very major, they're fairly minimal. Really, some of the bigger developments are going to be around supporting resources. So we started with some supporting resources. We developed more throughout the year as we got questions and feedback. And then after the Green Masters program closed last year, we surveyed participants to ask what worked, what didn't, what do you want to see more of, what do you want to see less of. So we're actually going to be offering a learning management system platform for members that includes recorded videos on each one of the topics that kind of outlines, if any of you did the working group last year, it's the recordings from the working group where we kind of walk through each topic systematically in terms of, you know, how do you develop systems and goals? How do you, what are some of the best practices? And then how do you track performance improvement? And what are some of the specific KPIs we're looking at? So those are all recorded. Those are going to be available in a learning management system, along with the topic specific reference sheets. So this is 1 to 2 pages for each topic that have like a ton of linked resources and tools. So resources or reference material would be more background information, where tools would be more like things you can use in implementing your program. So maybe it's a template or things like that. And then a lot of definitions. So if you're like, how does the Green Masters program define this versus other frameworks? Take a look at the reference sheet. That's where you can find that information. We define a lot of terms there. Also this year, we didn't have a strong positive response to the working groups last year. That was ranked pretty low in terms of value add to members. So instead, this year, we're offering quarterly Q&A sessions. So we're literally going to have like 30 minutes, I actually think it's an hour, where Jesse and I are just going to be available for any questions that come up. We won't have like pre-prepared material unless we get questions ahead of time. It'll just be your opportunity to ask us questions, specific, general, anything in support of the Green Masters program. So look at the calendar and you'll see those populated as they come up. I think the first one's in May. The other big difference this year is that we are in the move toward kind of reinforcing the rigor of the Green Masters program. We're moving toward a self-certification statement. I'm just going to see if I can easily pull that up really quickly without compromising anything. I just want to share quickly what that will look like. So this, can anyone tell me if you can see this? Can someone just like go off mute and say, yeah, I can see it?
We can see it.
Okay, great. I don't have the green bar around it, so I wasn't sure. Thanks. This is the self-certification statement. So we're asking that the program, the organization admins, the administrator for your facility, the one who hits submit, fills this out, signs it, and sends it back to us. It's literally just saying, to the best of my knowledge, we've completed the assessment in alignment with the program rules. So we've gone through a materiality assessment process. You have to do that when you go through the materiality worksheet. You can't move on in the platform unless you've gone through a process. So it's not scribing how you have to do that. It's saying that you've gone through a process of assessing what's material. You've only claimed credit for current actions, you know, that are included in the scope of your disclosure. And then the status specific claims just align with the definition of those statuses. We'll be sending this out in an email to registered participants. And then as new participants register, we'll be adding it. So you'll get a chance to see this again. We just wanted to share, this is coming. It's a self-certification. There are no legal ramifications, although if you want to send it through your legal team or something, you can, it's okay. But it's really just saying that you've aligned with program rules. That's what that certification statement is. And then the recognition categories for 2024, we're adding a new one, which will be most improved. So again, if you participated historically and you're excited to get in there and take the next step, we will be recognizing most improved participants this year as well. For returning participants, just as a reminder, this link to GMP Communications, the webpage, offers like all of the program framework resources, materiality guidance, terms and definitions, logo use guidelines. Don't forget to use the Green Masters logo. If you're a participant, you can use the logo, and we encourage you to use it on your internal and external communications. Make sure you're selecting the appropriate number of business priorities to align with what the status level you would like recognition for. We do evaluate this before we go through our recognition, make our recognition process formal. The assessment window this year is April 1st to September 30th. So make sure you hit submit on the platform sometime between those dates, and then add contributors to continue to engage your team. You can email me or Jesse to add more contributors to your organization. If you're just getting started in the platform, here's where you can register, log in. Don't forget to bookmark it to Leah's point, and then get started responding. So it's really not hard. The registration is like, I don't know, 5 to 10 questions. It's not, it's just the information we need to set up an account for you. Again, we talked about this a little earlier. We're offering consulting support for those who want to go further faster. Particularly want to call your attention to that sustainability assessment. If you're just getting started or don't know where to go next to improve your program, let us know and we can support you in that. And with that, we're at the top of the hour, but I will leave this up. We can open for questions, and Jesse, if you want to call out anything about any upcoming events, please do so.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. I think the next thing, we have our greenhouse gas working group coming up March 20th, and then immediately following the next day, we have a navigating greenhouse gas collection and data sharing. So would love to have you join those events. We'll be in touch more. Cool Choices is starting April 1st. We will get that information out to you this week. So make sure you're assembling your teams. Registration is currently open. We'll have that information in the member portal. And yeah, if there's any other events or needs you have, feel free to reach out to us. We are always here. I think the next slide has our contact information if you don't already have it. So thanks everyone. We appreciate your participation and we look forward to a great year together.